different level.
Yeah.
He was on a different playing field than you or I,
No,
right?
well,
I mean,
sure.
He just did not care. He did what he did. He said what he said.
Right.
He played what he played. And he did not get hung up on any of that stuff. I just want to throw in a couple of more tweets that people are interested in Ed's circle.
Sure.
Steve Vai has posted a couple of things.
Wow.
This one, he writes, never to be filled, and he's got a pair of red striped sneakers.
Wow.
Just a empty pair of that. Billy Sheehan says, I am utterly devastated, with a picture of Ed doing one of his famous jumps with Sammy singing in the background.
Mm-hmm. I have one here from Gene Simmons. My heart is broken. Eddie was not only a guitar god, but a genuinely beautiful soul. Rest in peace, Eddie. Eddie Van Halen, dead at 65 from cancer. And then also from his counterpart, Paul Stanley. Oh no. Speechless. A trailblazer. And someone who always gave everything to his music. A good soul. I remember seeing him play at the Starwood in 1976. He was Eddie Van Halen. So shocked and sad. My condolences to Wolfie and the family.
This one from Tony Iommi. And by the way, there's just so many. There's no way we can read them all. But Tony had said, Tony's had his own battles with cancer.
Oh, of course.
So he knows, right? I'm just devastated to hear the news of the passing of my dear friend, Eddie Van Halen. He fought a long and hard battle with his cancer right to the very end. Eddie was one of very special kind of person, a really great friend. Rest in peace, my dear friend, till we meet again. And there's a picture of Ed and him together.
Yeah. There's
just all sorts of tweet,
there's a few others I highlighted too. This is also, speaking of Tony, from Geezer Butler. Just when I thought 2020 couldn't get any worse, I hear Eddie Van Halen has passed. So shocking. One of the nicest, down-to-earth men I have ever met and toured with. A true gent. True genius. R.I.P. So sad. Thoughts go out to his brother Alex and his family.
Here's another one from Steve Vai.
Yeah.
Feeling deep sadness and overwhelming appreciation. The appreciation and love for him is bigger, though. Let's take a minute and try to imagine our world if he never showed up. It's unthinkable. Thank you, King Edward. You are deeply loved and will be missed.
This coming from Lenny Kravitz. Legendary guitar and musical innovator Edward Van Halen, 1955 to 2020. Heaven will be electric tonight. There's also one here from Nikki Six. Crushed. So fucking crushed. R.I.P. Eddie Van Halen, you changed our world. You were the Mozart of rock guitar. Travel safe, rock star. Unbelievable. And just I'll add one more here from Sebastian Bach. Eddie Van Halen and Neil Peart were just too good for 2020. We all are. My heart is broken. So, I mean, everybody is just reeling here, and that's for sure. Obviously, no one more than Valerie, than Wolf. Of course, let's not forget Janie and Al, of all people. My God.
Yeah. It's just, it's just crazy because it just was like so sudden. It wasn't like anybody knew he was really, really sick.
Yeah.
And that it was coming.
Right.
So I think that's real. And like you said, we always had this hope in the back of our heads that there'd be another show or tour or music or something. Or, he'd still be around even if he was just retired.
Right.
So it's shocking. And that makes it all the more sad.
Yeah. It's also, Eddie was sort of, he's known as the kind of template for a lot of people, you know what I mean? But it was almost impossible to imitate him because his originality couldn't really be explained properly because his true talent could really only be experienced. And he was a true star and he made the whole rock guitar hero thing, and whatever you want to call it. He had this sort of gleeful vibe about his face. I mean, he was, not only was he engaged and locked in, but he was having fun. Like, you know what I mean? And that's also why, I know this, Dave's going to laugh when I say this, but like, why I do like Van Halen 3, because Eddie was happy and he was kind of enjoying what he was doing. And I know, and you can feel, his enjoyment in a lot of the things that are in there. And I also love 5150 because, my God, Eddie was deliriously happy during 5150 because it really was proof and a comeback for him. 1984 and 5150 were real proof for Eddie that he was putting his artistry forward and to absolute success. And I also love when Wolf came in the band. Again, Eddie deliriously happy. In 2007, he was so glad he got to play with Wolf and make music with his son in addition to playing live. But, the thing is that, sometimes they say, the brightest stars burn out quick because they live, such intense heat. And, let's be honest, Eddie went hard for decades. Look, there was no one cooler or more fun to watch than Eddie Van Halen, that's for sure. And he was a highly visual guitarist. He was never a poser, ever a poser. He was Ed. Just like Dave said early on in this conversation, he didn't give a shit. He will put patches on his pants. He will make his guitar look like it came from Sanford and Son's backyard. I mean, that's just the way he was. Listen, the funny thing is about this whole thing is, like, Dave and I don't know Ed personally, but the weird thing is that you feel so insanely close to him because the music, it was like your best friend in many ways. It's always there for you. You listen to it all the time. It's something you ref to all the time. It's something you share with your buddies. Therefore, you feel so close to him because that music is so close to him, although you don't know the man as a man. And you
hit the nail on the head because a lot of people today were like, why am I so upset over this? Like, I don't know the guy.
Yeah, well,
but it's because of that. It's because you're so invested in Ed and the band. And, it moves you to the point where you realize that there's not going to be anything else after that.
Right.
And
right.
A guy who gave us so much is now gone. And the thing about Ed is, certainly as a guitarist, there's nothing more that we can say that anybody listening to this podcast doesn't already know.
Right.
But he was the real deal. He was a package deal. Not only was he a great lead guitarist, his rhythm guitar playing was also very fundamental to the band. He was a phenomenal songwriter.
Oh, yeah.
Great arranger, good keyboard player too. And, he had an ear for producing and arranging. It's just all this stuff. Like, there's only one of him that comes along. I'm just really grateful I was here and around when it happened.
Yeah. We got to meet him.
Yeah.
We got to
and you know
see
what?
him.
The really bizarre part is when I found out. So I found out appropriately from you.
Right.
You were the first one to text me the TMZ article.
Yeah.
And right after that, my phone started exploding.
Right.
But I just happened to be, I was going to say I just happened to be. I'm always listening to Van Halen.
Right,
But I just happened to be listening to Van Halen. I was listening to the song 5150 Live.
Oh, okay.
From the 1989 tour.
Oh, wow. Nice reach.
Yeah, so that was just something somebody had found randomly, and I was just listening to that. Yeah, and that's when I got the news. So
wow, that's incredible.
It's just, 2020 sucked already.
Dude.
And this is just...
And you know what? Not only that, but Sebastian Bach mentioned, we lost one of the greatest drummers of all time, Neil Peart. Unbelievable. It's just unbelievable. They keep, we lost Tom Petty, we lost Glenn Frey, we lost Prince, we lost Bowie. You can go down the line. It's just starting to really pile up. But the funny thing,
and the weird part is that Mark Stone,
that's
the original Van Halen bass player, died like a week or so
I know,
ago, right?
And
I feel like. Was that like God sending out a warning shot?
I know.
I don't, and October is a crazy Van Halen month because
Sammy's birthday, Dave's birthday.
Right. And also October is the last time the band played together.
Ooh.
October 4th. 2015. I think I got that year right.
God, I think you're
is
right.
the last time the band played together.
Wow.
So you're talking, October's a heavy month.
Yeah.
For Van Halen
Yeah.
fans. So this is just, by the way, it was interesting. Like I said, it was on VH Links today.
Yeah.
And the guy who runs the link said, I've got a few questions that I would just like to say. I'm paraphrasing. I'm not reading his quote directly. But he basically said, I'm not closing down the site because Ed has passed away.
Yeah.
So,
no.
And I just like to say that Dave and I aren't ending the podcast just because Ed passed away.
No, of course not. If anything,
I realize that kind of puts some finality, if that's a word, to the band, but that doesn't mean we're going to stop talking about the band or celebrating.
No, of course not. Yeah, and we have, there are things, listen, it's obvious now why Wolf is withholding his solo album. Obviously, perhaps he was doing it for his father in the sense that, who wants to go into promotion and tour mode or whatever when your dad's not well?
Maybe yeah. And the question is, how well was he or wasn't he? Like,
we don't know, but obviously it wasn't good.
TMZ had said it was sudden, but that could very well be that he wasn't doing so hot, and Wolf just wanted to spend time with his dad while he could. And
he wasn't.
It all makes sense now, and who can blame him? But the family's really private, and they're not going to start saying things like that.
What? I give him credit. I give him credit in a world where everybody tweets what they had for breakfast. Let them. Eddie was old school, man. It's just the way he was. And listen. So I ask our listeners to wrap this up while you're blasting "Running with the Devil" and Panama, take a listen to some of Ed's stuff that you might not have paid such attention to, like the solo in Year to the Day, or savor the intro to Little Guitars. Look up the tracks from Sacred Sin, like Rise and Catherine, or check out Blues Breaker off the Starfleet Project, or his Wildlife soundtrack, because the man was a musical genius of epic proportions. And if anything comes out of this horrible loss, I hope that his legacy grows wider and deeper, and that many young people discover his legend and aspire to play like Eddie Van Halen. Because I can promise you this, his music is never going away, and that's for sure. All right, Dave, any other things you want to say?
No, I think that's it for now.
All right.
Sorry to have to put this out, but Dave and I were talking, and we were like, this just can't wait till the next regularly scheduled podcast.
Yeah,
so,
right.
We're all grieving together. We're all big fans. So let's all just celebrate the man's life and his contribution to music and enjoy that and what we got.
Absolutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. Amen.
Edwin? Thank you.
Are you ever so silent when she wanted to talk? Or couldn't keep quiet when she needed a hug? Come on, too strong when a little's too much. How many say I?
We don't plan anything. it just comes. And it's actually a strange phenomenon. When we get in the studio and whoever it may be coming up with the seed of an idea, it just snowballs.